Okay, hi, this is Dr. Katz, and this is podcast number 2. And so the question was posed to me earlier this week by a patient of how I became a chiropractor. So I thought I'd share that with you. This would be a good podcast since people tend to ask me that kind of thing. Chiropractic kind of chose me. I knew growing up that the body had a chance to heal itself if given the opportunity. I mean, you cut yourself, things heal without you doing much of anything to it. So I thought that some type of natural healing was something I wanted to look into. Now, I grew up in a typical allopathic family. We went to the doctor, we got medications. My parents had, the medicine chest with the prescription, but it just didn't really align with me growing up. I couldn't understand, why would doctors do something like this? And as far as my health history, had migraines since the age of 10, allergies, those kind of things growing up. But for the most part, I think I was relatively healthy. So I was in undergrad, and at the time having really bad seasonal allergies that I was on a prescription for. And at the time also, my blood pressure was starting to kind of creep up there. And the family doctor was like, hey, we're going to have to look at putting you on a prescription for this blood pressure. And I kind of felt like that was the thin end of the wedge. And if I started this, it was just going to be one prescription after another for the rest of my life, which is what I didn't want. And so about that time, a friend of mine had become engaged, and at her engagement party, I had a chance to speak with her brother-in-law. I knew he was a chiropractor, and I'd kind of seen him in passing as I was going in and out of her house. And so anyway, Dr. Jim came up to me and said, do you know what a chiropractor is? And I said, I think it has something to do with backs, but I'm really not that sure. And so Dr. Jim kind of told me a little bit about chiropractic. And as he was talking, things inside me were clicking, and I was like, this is making a lot of sense. And so he gave me his business card, and after the party, I called him up and said, hey, I want to come talk to you more about this chiropractic thing. And so I went up to his office, and he gave me a lay lecture and spoke to me more about what chiropractic is and how it came about. And the more he spoke, the more it just resonated with me, and it kind of lit a fire in me, like, okay, I got to check this out. And so I went home and I told my parents I wanted to become a chiropractic patient. And my dad agreed reluctantly, and that's okay. So I went up and started getting under chiropractic care, started getting regular treatments. And probably the most immediate thing that I saw was that my blood pressure was dropping. I would kind of get a little dizzy sometimes after an adjustment. And I remember the one time as the table was coming up, I kind of remember saying, hey, Jim, I don't feel so. And the next thing I remember, I'm laying on my back on the table, and Jim is standing over me going, don't you ever do that to me again. Apparently my blood pressure had dropped so fast that I had kind of fainted. But anyway, he knew that at that point we would have to let me lay on the table sometimes for a few minutes to let everything kind of normalize. He started taking my blood pressure before and after an adjustment. And the pretty cool thing is that you would see it come down. And the one time it came down 20 points, which to me was pretty amazing. Now, also at that time, he had me, I stopped taking my prescription for my allergies. And we were doing some nutritional stuff. And I was just happy that I didn't have to have another prescription. So going into senior year then, I was in lab that fall, and I was with friends, and we were doing lab work. And my one friend said to me, hey, what are you doing? And I said, well, what do you mean what I'm doing? I'm working on this slide. And she's like, no, you're not sniffling and sneezing and having sinus issues, and I'm miserable with my allergies. What are you doing? And I kind of stopped for a second and said, well, gee, the only thing I'm doing is going to a chiropractor. And at that point, I realized, okay, not only was my blood pressure doing great, My allergies were great. I wasn't on my prescription for that. And I also realized I hadn't had a migraine in a couple of months. And at that point, I was like, that's it. I'm hooked. This is what I want to do. So the next time I went up for my adjustment, I told Dr. Jim, I said, hey, I want to become a chiropractor. What do I need to do? And he says, well, you're already in you're pre-professional, so you're going to have your bachelor's. That's great. And he sent off to New York Chiropractic for their application. I filled it out and was accepted. And, the rest they say is history. But I can't imagine where I would be health-wise without chiropractic. And it was probably something that was calling to me just about my whole life, or as for long as I can remember. I just couldn't put a name on it. And so there's my story. And please feel free to share this with your loved ones. If you have any questions or comments, I welcome them. My email address is clorkatz@comcast.net. Or you can reach out to me at our Facebook page we're on Facebook at Katz Family Chiropractic. So go out, be awesome, have a great day, and be well. Thanks.